What's up, kiddos? Wanted to read you my favorite book. It's called The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At a far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing except old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the lifted Lorax once stood, and just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From far into town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives there. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in the lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of the miff-muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. Such a cool house, huh? On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes the most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his grooveless glove. See it? Then he grunts, I will call you by the whisper-ma-phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slup, down slups the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he's smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and was taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the songs of the swami swans ran out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. Hope I don't cry in this book, darn it. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate tuffula fruits. From the ripless pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish, humming while they splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh buttery milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffle tree with one chop, and with great skillful skill and great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a kazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy. He spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a sawdusty sneeze, "I am the Lorax, and I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, "What is that thing that you've made of my truffle tuft?" "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I've chopped just one tree, and I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed is a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed." But the very next minute, I proved him wrong. For just that minute, a chap came along, and he thought the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy! You never can tell what some people will buy." "I repeat," said the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Wunsler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weekawalkin, sharp right at the South Stitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Wunsler family was working full tilt. We were knitting thneeds, just as busy as beads, to the sound of chopping of truffle trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffle trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and the Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked at my new office door. He snapped, "I am the Lorax, who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown boobaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloo suits, and happily lived eating truffle fruits. Now, things to you, you're hacking my trees to the ground. There's not enough truffle fruit to go round, and my poor barbaloots are getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies." They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to go find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know? Reminds me of the Trail of Tears. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory. I biggered my roads. I biggered my wagons. I biggered the loads of the needs I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more needs, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when the old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax. He coughed and whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffed. He snargled and sniffed. Onceler, he cried with the cruffless croak. Onceler, you're making such smogless smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape the smog that you've smogged up around here. You're glumping the pond where the hummingbird fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed, so I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffle trees into needs, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. We heard the last tree fall, the very last truffle tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, every one of them waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left, neath the bad-smelling sky, was a big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance. Just gave me a very sad backwards glance. As he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself up and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all the Lorax left in the mess was a small pile of rocks with the word unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, said the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems pretty clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of them all. You are in charge of the last truffula seeds. And truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water. And feed it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. I tried not to cry. Sometimes it's hard to read the Lorax when you are the Lorax. Sweet.